Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up. I am honored to welcome the new elected president of Israel, Mr. Reuven Rivlin. You know, Mr. Rivlin, he is not just a former minister. He's not just a former speaker of the Knesset, but he embodies the spirit of Jerusalem. You know, all of you are journalists. Every interview will start with Mr. Rivlin about Jerusalem, the Holy Spirit of Jerusalem. So it is a privilege to have you with us with this important gathering, Mr. President.
Thank you so very much. Dear friends, please sit down. Should I talk in Hebrew or in English? Because I understand that the president of Israel has spoken to you in English, while the Prime Minister have talked to you in Hebrew. So what would you prefer? English, okay. Okay. I hope I could say my words in Yiddish, but ich kann nicht. Ich kann nicht.
Please, take a seat.
Please be seated, everybody. We just want you to know we love you.
Thank you so very much. It's mutual.
Journalists, please, take a seat.
Okay. Dear friends, welcome to Jerusalem. I'm a Jerusalemite, son of Jerusalemite, son of the son of Jerusalemite. Son of the son of the son of Jerusalemite goes back to the year 1809, when my ancestors came to Jerusalem from Vilna. They did so after 30 years before 1809. Their leader, the head of the family, have ordered us to get to Jerusalem on this year 1809, not because it was 1809, because it was the year according to our calendar, to the Jewish calendar, to the Hebrew calendar, the year Tav Kuf Ein. Today we have Tav Shin Ein Daled. It was Tav Kuf Ein. Hey Tav Kuf Ein. Those three letters, Tav Kuf Ein, meant and sound one word. Sound. Tka. Sound the great horn to proclaim freedom. And he has said to us, the Messiah is going to return back to Jerusalem, and it is impossible that the family of the Rivlins will not be there to welcome him. And since then we are here. I am seventh generation in Jerusalem as a Jerusalemite, and my grandchildren are the ninth generation already. And I welcome all of you to the city of Jerusalem. Your presence here at this time acquaints you with Israeli reality and all the challenges Israel must face. Nothing is better than an authentic, first-hand experience that you are experiencing just now, in those days. Only yesterday, I visited the home of the Karaka family in Arabe, a town near Sachnin in the Galil, in Israel. This family, whose 14-year-old son, Muhammad, was killed by a missile launched from Syria 3 days ago. Last week, I visited the Mekor Chaim Yeshiva, where the three 16-year-old young boys, Elad, Naftali, and Gilad, studied. It is a route that may seem impossible to an outsider observer. Traveling from Jewish to Arab citizens living together in this country. We all share the same faith, the same pain, and the same hope. Dear friends, I listened yesterday, or a few days ago, carefully, to the statistic appeal of the President of the Palestinian Authority, President Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazen, to the kidnappers, demanding the immediate release of the boys. I see his appeal as an opportunity to restore trust between Israel and the Palestinian Authority, if it could ever happen. We used to say we need the CBM, confidence building measure, and I suppose that these words were something that could bring us to create any kind of trust between the two people. I am aware to the fact that less than 24 hours after he have announced what he had to say to those kidnappers, the Prime Minister denied even the idea that they were kidnapped. Nevertheless, I received this letter, and I really believe he means something. Building trust between the two peoples, not merely between the leaders, is essential. If we are to put to an end the tragedy that is Israeli-Palestinian conflict, such trust requires constant communications. The mutual understanding in order to bridge the gap that is for decades, more than 150 years, seemed unbridgeable. The residents of the Middle East, Arabs and Jews, must realize that our coexistence is not a cruel fate, but rather our destiny. That we were not doomed to live together, but rather designed to live together. It's our mutual destiny, and we can't live without the belief that we can get to a sort of understanding. Where we will or not, we share the same geographic region. We breathe the same air, drink the same water. Upon my election to become the 10th President of Israel, I received a greeting from the President of the Palestinian Authority, President Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazen. We were both born in the same country. We are both min al-balad, yani sons of the same area. I have met with President Abbas on several occasions, and I know very well that we will meet again in spite of a lot of differences of opinion, in spite of the idea that there is a gap between us, gap that it is impossible to realize and to understand how it could be bridged. Nevertheless, it's our duty to do so, to find the way in order to understand, or at least understand, the position of the other side. We both understand that the direct communication is the key to make the Middle East inhabitable, a place that has a future as well as we have a past that no one can forget and should forget. Dear friends, the State of Israel is not merely a Zionist or an Israeli undertaking. It is also the state of all Jewish people all around the world. As President-elect, my door will be open to all. Those who know me and my stance and safeguarding democracy, that nothing is far away from me more than the silencing opinions that differ from my mind. I will never reject someone based on their worldview, and I will fight for their right to express it. Even as President-elect, I maintain the right to choose my own faith, but I will insist that the presidential home be open to any who wishes to engage in a dialogue with me, be they Jewish, of one religious movement or another, Arab, residents of Israel or abroad, rich or poor, newcomers or veterans. I must tell you, my friends, and you realize it once you are here experiencing the Israeli experience, that we have a lot of more problems with the economy, although we are keeping a very good position of a common economy, and we try to keep it. We have problems about the gap that is widening from year to year between rich and poor. This is something that we have to take into consideration because it is a strategic need for Israel to make those ideas that we can live along with the gap between rich and poor could not happen anymore. We have problems between cultures, church and war, church and state problems. We are trying to find solution with our minorities, from one side, the Arabs, and from the other side, and not to compare the Orthodox religious people of Israel. They are not minorities anymore. Both of them are more than 20% of the Israeli inhabitants, the Israeli citizens. And we have to take into consideration that we are built of minorities, and they are the most, really, strongest minorities in Israel. Whether we are looking toward the Knesset as a political power, or we are looking about the streets of Israel, the education of Israel, the need to help those who cannot help themselves, everything has to be taken into consideration once we have to lead this country. I know I can talk to you more and more about the problems of Israel, and I know that you are very much aware, because every one of you knows that he has two cities, the one who he was born to, the one he lives in, and Jerusalem. Because every one of us, actually, whether he's a Jerusalemite or not, he is a Jerusalemite. God bless all of you, and thank you for letting me have the opportunity to talk to you, because I know how impressive. We read your articles and sometimes we would like to be aggressive in order to answer you. Nevertheless, I must say that without the really media, and without the freedom of speech, and without the freedom of writing, even criticizing, and sometimes very, very hardly, I must say that we could not run democracy. And I'm proud to become, within a few weeks, the president of a Jewish democratic state, when we can say in one breath, Jewish and democratic, and there is no gap between a Jewish state and a democratic one. God bless all of you. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I have to return back because I have to meet the mothers of our two youngsters who are really, we did not have the opportunity to release them yet. Nevertheless, I would like to meet them at the Israeli Knesset, and because of that I cannot take questions, because I know that it would be difficult to answer them. Nevertheless, I would answer them, believe you me. Thank you so very much.
Many thanks to our new elected president.
Thank you.
תודה רבה.
תודה רבה לך.
אין עליך.
תודה רבה.
בהצלחה, בהצלחה.